Welcome back to Elevation 44, the podcast. I'm Beverly. For those of you who are new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Today, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into the 2024 transits. So today, we are going to talk about those 2024 transits, the ones that I think you should be paying most attention to, how it's going to impact us, and all that jazz. So without further ado, let's just dive right in. So we're starting off 2024 with one major movement. And at the time of you listening to this movement has already happened, and it's Pluto moving into Aquarius. This happened on January 20th, and it was felt by all. Because Pluto is a outer planet that moves very slowly and has big generational effects in terms of the collective consciousness, it was already being felt prior to this movement. It briefly went into Aquarius back in 2023, and during that time, we saw a glimpse of just a tiny glimmer of what Pluto in Aquarius was really going to be like. Pluto is the planet of transformation. And Aquarius is the sign of liberation and advancement. And the advancement that comes in the form of unexpected radical changes. This transformation in Aquarius is all about realignment to our more authentic path. And if you've been tuning in to either my videos or here on the podcast, you've known that I've been sounding off about finding your authentic path, no more of upholding the false image or what you're expected to be or do in this world, but letting your soul drive this bus. So it really is about shedding the old programming and blazing your own way forward. Aquarius is also the sign of technology, communication, and working together because it's air energy. It's all about the mind, the mental. It's mental stimulation at its finest, and it's innovative energy. It's about new, fresh ideas, originality, using that authenticity to push things forward because we're all unique and we all bring something different to the table, and that's the beauty of it. Pluto in Aquarius is also about shifting the power dynamics. So shifting the power dynamics from a few being in power to many being empowered, to the masses having the shift of power into their hands so that they're okay, is what Pluto in Aquarius is working to do. When Pluto was in Capricorn, it was really about tearing down those old structures, those top-down methods, those dictating, it's only a few of us holding all the power at the top and the rest of you at the bottom are just going to have to try to survive because we're good up here. It's overhauling all of that and it's saying, okay, let's do what's best for the majority now. It's our time to eat. It is our time to win. So working together, because Aquarius is about community. It's about groups. Working together to figure out how can we come to the table and make sure we're good? The majority is good. It's that humanitarianism energy at its finest, but also that collaboration energy. And speaking of collaboration, we're going to see collaboration in so many different ways. Sometimes we think it's only front-facing collaboration, but there's a lot of collaboration that's going to be happening behind the scenes that we're not even going to know about. But the collective, working together, groups rising, is really what we're going to see during this time. Those new power structures, the things that were torn down when Pluto was going through Capricorn, are now going to be rebuilt in Aquarius. And it's going to be a beautiful time. But there are things to keep in mind. As Pluto transits in Aquarius for the next 20 years, because it does exit in 2044, we need to be aware of falling into herd mentality thinking, just going along with the group, just for the sake of wanting to belong. It is time to shine and to be your unique and authentic self by voicing your ideas, your creativity, and blazing your path forward in that way, standing up and speaking up for what's right based off of your soul's true alignment. So that is one thing to keep in mind as Pluto transits in Aquarius. But there's just going to be rapid advancements in technology, in space travel, in science, in so many different areas. It's going to happen so fast. It's just a blink of an eye, and we're going to see how things are rapidly changing. And we can already see that just based off of some of the technology that we've been privy to just in the past couple of months. Apple recently dropped they're not calling it a VR headset, but that's what I look at it as. You have these cars, these self-driving vehicles that do all these things. And this is just the first round of things that we're seeing. This stuff is going to take off in a completely different way. So keep in mind that Pluto in Aquarius is transforming all of that for us. It's also helping us get into a space of shifting the power dynamics within and walking more in our own personal power. So that is our first transit for 2024. That is the major one. The second transit that I would say to keep in mind in 2024 is Chiron conjunct the North Node. And this will be happening somewhere between February 17th and February 25th. Chiron is the wounded healer. And Chiron is all about those deep wounds, that core wounding. And with it being in the sign of Aries, Aries is about our core identity, how we assert our identity in this world, who we are, who we show up as. The conjunction with the North Node is about the direction we should be going in. Some people say it's our purpose, our path forward, our true way, but it is technically supposed to be pointing you in the direction you're supposed to be going. And when you have the wounded healer mixing its energies with the North Node, you get to finally understand why you've been tested in the form of these wounds the way you have been. Why you have them? Where are they leading you? What's the purpose of having to have gone through these deep wounds? And a lot of times, again, it's around your identity wounds. Who are you? Who are you not showing up as? So wounds in this place become opportunities or a path made clear for you to take forward. You're finally shown why you struggled with this thing and how this is also your key out. So testing is definitely happening, but a lot of bringing to light of what you've struggled with and how now you can integrate that in your path forward. The third transit I would say to pay attention to in 2024 is happening on March 8th. And this is a Mars and a Uranus square. Now, squares in astrology bring tension. Mars is the planet of drive, determination, action, energy, passion. And Uranus is all about revolution, liberation, freedom, unexpected changes, twists and turns of events, and genius. It's about that innovation, that authenticity that we talked about earlier. So this energy, when there's tension between these two, it spells liberation, but liberation in the form of rebellion. People want change under it, and they want the change now, and they rebel of anything feeling confining or authoritative. You feel ready for something new, and you want to replace the old way because Mars does not wait. Mars has no patience. This is also prime energy for innovative ideas, specifically in how we transform our resources because Uranus is sitting in Taurus, Mars is sitting in Aquarius. So how do we transform our money, earth resources, anything like that? Through technology. What innovative new systems? What tech can we use? How can we improve this thing? These ideas can be coming up at this time, and we can see some changes to follow around this energy. The fourth thing that I'll highlight for 2024 is happening on March 25th, and that's the lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra. Libra is the sign of relation to others. So this is all about our relationships, our partnerships, our closest relationships. And they're not just romantic. They can be business partnerships. They could be real close friendships or really close family relationships. It's those that are really close to us. And this is a continuation of our solar eclipse in Libra that happened in October of 2023. So our closest relationships under this energy started to be transformed. And solar energy or solar eclipses are more about the external. So a lot of the changes you see happening from a solar eclipse perspective is very outward and just bam, in your face. You can see it. The changes happen swiftly, they're more dramatic, and they are something that can be seen. The changes happening with the lunar eclipse are more internal. So the change is happening within yourself, and then it's going to spill out within your relationship. So if you're not being fulfilled spiritually or emotionally, then it's going to be made very, very clear over these next couple weeks to months. And keep a pin in this because we have another eclipse at the end of this report that's going to tie to this one. All right, so the next transit to pay attention to in 2024 is the Mercury retrograde happening in the sign of Aries. This is our first Mercury retrograde of the year, and it's happening on April 1st through April 24th. This is in a fire sign. Aries is that fire. We're eager to start and get things off the ground, but boy, Mercury retrogrades don't let us do that. There are delays here. Aries energy, especially with Mercury, is truth-bringing energy. It's blunt, it's honest, it's to the point, it's courageous, it's impulsive. It can also be tactless and harsh. And what we are being made to do during this particular Mercury retrograde is to slow down. It's not a race. Aries just wants to run and finish the race, get to the end. It's not a race. It's about the journey, not the destination. It's also an opportunity during this time to gain clarity on what you've been procrastinating on. It's a great moment to gain the courage to take the true leap forward after reassessing all of these things. On April 8th, we have another eclipse, but this one is a total solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. This is the first new moon of the astrological new year, and it being a total solar eclipse, it packs a punch. Those total solar eclipses always way heavier than the others. So expect dramatic. And when I say dramatic, I mean dramatic changes. Initiating new things, taking charge, and going forward fearlessly. Now, because this is the time of the Mercury retrograde where it's saying to slow down and gain clarity, it's like, yes, we're thinking about the new things we want to initiate, but we're also waiting a little bit. We're being patient. We're being forced to be patient. The idea here is to gain the courage in the process of your reassessment and really slowing down to think about what you're doing and how you want to launch forward. Because when that retrograde's over, it's going to move. Moving forward fearlessly is the key. You are being pushed to take action. You are ready. No more procrastination. No more self-doubt. One of the biggest things that is happening in 2024 is happening on April 20th, which is the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction in Taurus. Jupiter and Uranus only meet together every 14 years. Expect surprises and unexpected events in true Uranus style. But because Jupiter is there, the planet of expansion, growth, and optimism, it just expands whatever it touches. So all the things we talked about Uranus, liberation, radical changes, innovation, that's all happening in Taurus, which is connected to our resources. It can be like a roller coaster ride that is just wild, fun, and free until it's not, until it starts coming down. And you're like, what is going on here? So don't expect things to be constant during this time. The energy can be erratic. You can feel more optimistic and may want to take more risk than you usually do, but discernment is required. Expect changes to the weather patterns. There could be lots of earthquakes and different things that happen around this time that shake up the earth. There could also be discoveries. There are things happening where the ice is melting at alarming rates, and things that have been hidden under the ice for so long are now being revealed. So expect the unexpected when Jupiter and Uranus conjunct in Taurus. Another big movement happening shortly after this Jupiter and Uranus conjunction is Jupiter moves out of the sign of Taurus and into the sign of Gemini. And this is happening on May 25th. Now, the last time Jupiter was in Gemini was 2012. And this was an expansion of growth. Our genius gets activated here, and our adaptability just is amazing. But also our communication. So we can see a rise in communication. We can see new communication styles or platforms introduced. There's so many different things we can see happening around communication. And there's so many different forms of communication. So keep your eyes on that. Gemini is scattered. It has so many interests and wants to dive in all the things. And you can be pulled in many directions. You can feel scattered. And so grounding during this time is super, super important. On July 15th, we have a Mars and Uranus conjunction in the sign of Taurus. Whatever change you thought was coming, if you haven't seen it by now, it's here when Mars touches Uranus. You're breaking free. No more being small, no more holding back. You want it to happen, and you want it to happen now. You're ready to feel more in tune with your originality, free of the influence and the restriction of others. So there is going to be an uptick here in the collective protesting or rebelling against the things that feel oppressive. On August 4th through August 27th, we have our second Mercury retrograde in the sign of Virgo, but it also regresses back into Leo. So if you notice, we're having this theme where our Mercury retrogrades are in fire signs and our big major outer planets are shifting into air signs. So this Mercury retrograde starts off in Virgo because there's something that we need to analyze and break down the complexity behind. We need a better plan, better organizing, a better system. So this is a prime opportunity to research and redo what isn't working. So by this time, you've launched some things, you started anew, you've been blazing your new path forward, and you're finding that there's some adjustments that need to be made. And so this is the time to analyze what isn't working, to make those adjustments, because you're going to take off again after this retrograde is over. But then it goes back into Leo, so you can dive into your creativity and shine your confidence from a better foundation. It's like, now I got the formula for what works. I got a stronger foundation to build this house on. Now I really have the confidence and the passion to just drive me forward. On September 1st, Pluto is retrograded back into the sign of Capricorn. And it's got a little bit of cleanup work left. It's only going to be there for 2 months. So this is the final retrograde into the sign of Capricorn. And it'll exit in November. But what I think is very interesting is the timing of this retrograde back into Capricorn, right before the US elections, the US presidential elections. More things are getting exposed. More trash is getting taken out. Now, personally, I believe we're being encouraged to release our grip on what is no longer working so we can embrace a new way forward. On September 17th, we have a lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. I find that the timing of this eclipse is interesting, especially because Neptune is on its last leg of Pisces. So it's going into overtime doing its work there. Again, our lunar eclipses are pointing to internal transformation. This is about our internal world, our emotions, how we process internally. The focus here is on your relationship with yourself, yes, and others, but it's about healing those deep inner wounds and tapping into your foundation of spirituality, intuition, and imagination to get more centered internally, because we're going to need that for the times that we're going into. On October 2nd, we have another eclipse. This is our final eclipse of the year. And remember when I told you to put a pin in that lunar eclipse in Libra? Well, here we go with our third eclipse in the sign of Libra. And again, Libra is about dealing with our relationships. The message of this eclipse is some people only have passes and clearance up to the 4th floor, and you're being called to go up to the 5th or the 6th or the 7th floor at this point. Some relationships have to go. There's an external transformation, another sweeping out of what no longer aligns anymore, what's no longer supportive. Info that was previously withheld is coming to light. It's a turning point of endings so that there's new beginnings. And not every relationship ends physically. Sometimes an element or something within the relationship is ending so that you have a new beginning. So you're transforming through that. And sometimes it means physically saying goodbye. It's an opportunity to also balance yourself and the relationships that support you, but more importantly, support who you're becoming, not who you were. On November 25th through December 15th, we have our final Mercury retrograde of the year. This is happening in the sign of Sagittarius, another fire sign. And what this is drawing your attention to is the big picture. What is the overall goal? Because sometimes we get lost in those details, and those details can derail us. By the time we get lost in the details, we forget why we're doing the thing in the first place. You want to have that big picture in mind, you want to have that end goal in mind, but you also have to realize the whole process of getting there is the journey. That's the part that you are supposed to be enjoying. And the final transit of 2024 that I'd like to bring to your attention is happening on December 6th. And this is a Mars retrograde in Leo, another fire sign. Mars is, again, our passion, our inner motivation, our drive. And it's comfortable in Leo because Leo is confident. It's motivated and determined to achieve goals, to achieve plans. Mars likes to move forward, likes to get things done, doesn't like to wait around. But the retrograde energy says you're going to have to wait whether you like it or not. And it's frustrated because it makes you pause and slow down on a physical level. In a culture where everything is go, 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 and where we've entered all this fire and air energy where everything is moving quickly and a lot of things are happening mentally that we're not even stopping to process, this is a time to pause and rest and replenish our energy reserves. So replenishing and restoring and making sure you're putting your energy in the right places is what this is designed to show you. And before you know it, things will be moving forward again. So take those moments of rest. And that is the entire 2024 astrological transits, the ones at least I think you should be paying attention to. I really hope that you were able to take something out of this conversation today. Maybe you can come back and listen to it and write things down, mark your calendar. Just pay attention to the energies because whether or not you're aware, they impact all of us to a certain degree. I look forward to chatting with you again soon, and I will see you in the next one.